And here we go.
This is David Garofalo of the Cigar Authority, and you're listening to the Leaf and Ash Podcast, the cigar podcast that I listen
to. Strike a match, let it burn real slow, drawing deep where the good smoke goes. From the lounge to the porch, we talking class. This is fire and flavor, it's Leaf and Ash. Leaf and...
Let's go.
Like that.
Let's go. A little smooth jazz.
That's something different. No something. What's going on, guys? Sorry for the delay. We were having, once again, a little technical difficulties, but we got it situated. Guys, welcome to another episode of the Sip and Smoke on the Leaf and Ash podcast, guys. I'm one of your hosts, Panda. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, I got my three compadres with me. Let's start off on the top left, which is out of the ordinary. And you got the pepper sensation, JJ, a.k.a. Cigar Mutt. What up, Mutt?
What's up?
And on the top right, we got no other than the bouginess of all bouginess, Cigar Don. What up, Donnie boy?
What's going on, everybody?
And then the bottom left, the big dog himself, PC Silver.
What's happening, people? Man,
what's going on, guys? It is a sip and smoke. So let's see. We had some people trying to guess. What's up, Gary? We got some people guessing what the bouginess of all bouginess Don's smoking and that, but we'll get to him last. PC, what you smoking on? What you sipping on, brother?
Hey, man, the wife fixing me some tequila and spicy lemonade. I'm gonna take that now, and I gotta go with one of my favorites, which is the Big Payback by Room 101.
Oh, nice, good smoke. I like the Payback.
Mm-hmm.
What you smoking? What you sipping on?
I am smoking the Garofalo La Famiglia. Very, very good in the very first. And I am drinking the Woodford Reserve Double Oaked.
Ooh, nice. I like the double.
Oh, it's like good.
It. Yeah.
So the Panda is funny enough. JJ, I'm drinking the regular Woodford Reserve. And the Panda is pairing it up with no other than
number 9.
I'll rock it.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
The Rocky 60, right?
Right.
It's been a hot minute since I've had one of these, and you know, I kind of stood away from Rocky Patel for quite some time, but this is one stick that kind of brought me back to his line, his core. I actually like it. So yeah. So now, ladies and gentlemen, what we all have been waiting for, what is the bougie of all bouginess smoking and sipping? Let's start off before you tell what you're smoking. What are you sipping on?
I'm sipping on an old-fashioned made with Von Payne whiskey.
Okay, he already starts off with the bouginess. And you're pairing it up with what?
So I'm pairing it up with and Blacks, you were close, but no cigar. I am smoking the West Tampa Tobacco Company Circle of Life.
There you go.
Beautiful cigar. What's up, Zoe?
What's going on, Pat? The 60 is a good. Yeah, man. You know what, Pat? The Rocky Patel 60 is probably the first stick in his line that I actually tried. And everybody was talking about it, praising it. And I kind of got away from the 60, or rather the Rocky Patel as a whole. And I kind of shared with you guys, my reasonings, but it seems to come full circle, right? Mm-hmm. So, but anyways, guys, so talking about cigars and stuff like that, we all know we are all cigar lovers. Those who are on here, they know what cigar love is. Mm-hmm. So, JJ, you brought this question up, and Panda run out of just for men. Really? I've never dyed my beard, buddy. Although my children have tried to convince me to, I'll be honest with you. But no, you're getting all natural. I ain't even shaved, man. Look at that, man. The Panda needs a haircut. But anyway, going back to the podcast before I got distracted. So AJ asked the questions in regards to. We have a few questions, guys, and those who are on the chat room with us, by all means, we want to get your input.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a simple question, but it's kind of an important question that will open up this platform and this segment. And basically, it's a simple question: why do you love cigars? Right? Why do you love cigars? And so I'm gonna start. JJ, it was your question, so you start off. What's your reasoning? You know, what do you love about cigars? What about it about cigar smoking that you love?
First and foremost, this right here is what I love. I love the relaxation I get, the solace I get from it, especially from a crazy day or week. You know, sometimes I don't even have to turn a light on in this room. I just open the humidor, grab a cigar, and that's good enough. It gives me so much to look forward to, and it's a lot of doors for me. And, like I said, that's why I love cigars.
How about you, Donnie boy?
So I'm going to echo JJ a little bit, and the main thing is this: the friendships and the camaraderie that we get out of this. You know, we've shared several times. We do this kind of almost every night. We just go live, you know, every fourth night or so, whatever. You know, we chop it up almost every night. So it's this, but also, man, when it's time for a cigar, it's an hour commitment of I'm not going to do anything else for that hour, but sit here and smoke my cigar. And whether I'm with you guys or I'm by myself in my recliner there, just, you know, with my own thoughts and my own, I can't tell you the amount of like personal problems and stuff I've figured out by sitting there smoking a cigar, like just running things through my head, like, oh wait, that might work, you know? And so it's that for me. It's the relaxation and the commitment of just sitting there and, you know, it's probably the same argument that a lot of people have for not smoking cigars is they don't have an hour to give to it. You know, they don't want to sit around for an hour but for me, that's what you know.
No,
What about you, PC?
Man, you know, you guys pretty much said it, but it's the ability to have the conversations that you wouldn't normally have, and the freedom. It's like if you ever been a motorcycle rider, there's nothing more free than riding a motorcycle. I have the freedom to smoke how I want to, not be, you know, zone out, and the rest of the world pretty much disappear, man. And like Don said, you know, I saw world peace, you know, in that hour and a half. For some people, 2 hours done, 50 minutes.
Yeah.
15. You meant 15 minutes, right?
Oh, my bad. I misspoke.
15 minutes.
So, yeah, man.
Don was on his third cigar, and PC was still on his first.
Within how many hours? 2 hours?
True story. True story. Well, guys, there's a few reasons why I love cigars, right?
Yep.
It's one, it never disappoints me, right? When I'm having a good day or I'm having a bad day, I know I could rely on that cigar to kind of take me away from my thoughts, like you said, or, you know, within that hour, or I'm deep in thought. You know, I don't need any, you know, white noise around me, right? I don't need music until just me, the cigar, and the drink, just contemplating whatever it is that I need to conquer at that moment, or I need to make a serious decision. You know, it never disappoints me when I need to go and just be alone. And that's another thing, right? You could enjoy this, obviously, with friends, because that's what, you know, we enjoy about this community. But it's something that I also enjoy doing by myself. You know, there's times that I just need to be, you know, left alone with my own thoughts, and I grab a good cigar and a good drink, and I just kind of, like BC said, solve the world's problems, right?
Right.
And to me, guys, another thing is that, you know, it has become such a part of me. You know, like I said, it's not a life, you know, it's not a hobby anymore, it's a lifestyle, you know, and it's just one of those things that I'm not that guy that craves, I need to have a cigar first thing in the morning. I don't, because there's, you know, I don't get to smoke, you know, till like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. You know, on the weekends is a different story. And, you know, I have, as you guys know, I always send you my morning video, you know, my cup of coffee and my cigar, whatever the hell I'm smoking. But you know, I just love the community that this one thing brings as a whole, right?
Yeah.
As a whole, because it doesn't matter your race, your ethnicity, your religion, your politics, all that nonsense out the window.
Mm-hmm.
And it brings people from all walks of life, together, And how many people did you meet and were able to network without you realize you were networking with?
Dude, thousands already.
Yeah. So I told you last year, my AC went to the dump. I called one of my guys. It was a Sunday at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. The man drove an hour to fix it for me.
Yeah.
I mean, come on now. 5:30 every week morning. I hear you. I just listen. If I had a job like PC, because PC smokes that early in the morning. The only time I smoke early in the morning is either I'm on vacation or I'm on the weekend, especially on vacation. And that's the scary part. When I'm on vacation, this last getaway for I tore it up, man. I went beyond my limit. Let me tell you, and not the cigars that I bought while I was out there. Then of course the locker that I have out there is St. Augustine. But yeah, I went to town, and that was like when I woke up at 7 in the morning.
Well,
and to fulfill my fix in the mornings, because we started going to work at 6 again.
mhm.
I love 6 to 2:30. We started that this week. It's beautiful. My pipe, a little bit of an aromatic, a nice light aromatic in the morning.
I can only imagine.
Oh
I
god,
can only imagine with that
PC,
morning dew and
it's
that
beautiful.
Yeah.
And you only have to, you just throw a little bit, a quarter, half a bowl, 20, 25 minutes, and it's not bad. It fills that need for the time. It's better than that Copenhagen.
Mm.
And I'll say this, man, it's nothing like smoking early in the morning. And there's been times I've been up at 3, 4 in the morning,
Mhm.
and I'll come out on the front porch, and you don't even hear the birds chirping or nothing. It's just the dew falling, and there's nothing like a nice smoke. And that's when, I get that reset. And that's one of the things that I love about smoking cigars, man. It gives you a reset. It pushed the button for you. So, guys, if you haven't tried it, get your nice cup of coffee, go out there
That's
on
right.
the front porch, 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
You gotta have your coffee, right? You gotta
Yes,
have
sir.
I'm still trying to find coffee. Can't find it here in Oklahoma.
Yeah, you gotta come back to Florida.
Yeah, I know. I need
You
to
gotta
try
go
it.
to Florida. Florida has a lot of coffee out here. So now we're gonna go. And guys, listen. By all means, those that are on the chat room, by all means, if you guys have input, please let us know why you guys love smoking cigars outside of the things that we've already mentioned. But here's a question, guys, because we all have somewhat our own home lounges, or we go to lounges, right?
Yeah.
How about those who've never really been, or they're new in town? What do you recommend when you suggest? What do you suggest to new people that are in town? What lounge to go to? What do you expect them to see? Or what do you think a good reason for you to suggest a specific lounge? What do you guys look for yourselves, and what would you recommend? I'll pass it to you on PC.
I mean, I got a wide variety of lounges here in Georgia, and first I will assess the person's personality, to be honest with you, not so much the cigars that they'll be exposed to. Because you can go to the nightclub, you can go to the domino tables, you can go to just a laid back lounge, and then some. So I would check their personality, man, and I would probably take them to 2 or 3 so that they will, get that experience, and just treat them to certain sticks when they come. What are you smoking? Check their palate, and lay the drinks out for them, man. You know how we do.
Oh yeah.
So, but I probably, I mean, if I had to start off, I would start off with something kind of mild. I would take them to Rocky Patel, and if they like that, it's a in between the dominoes and the club scene. So
You talking about his lounge?
Yeah, Rocky Patel Bird. Yeah.
Oh man, you set the standards high, man. Because Rocky Patel lounges, all of his lounges are not. They're like very fancy, very bougie. I was expecting something like that from this man up here, man.
But
But I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, and I understand. In regards to that item, because the next question is going to be a follow up to that. So hold on to that thought in regards to the vibe.
All right.
What says you, JJ?
Well, if we're here local around here, I'd take them to El Guapo's. Is a good place. It's quiet, it's laid back, a good assortment of cigars and drinks. If they want to get a little wild, we have some stuff there in Tulsa. Which you have like the Tobacco Pouch is the oldest cigar lounge there in Tulsa. It's a great lounge, filled up with a bunch of old crusty men telling jokes. You got to have some thick skin. You got to have some thick skin there because they're going to get you. But it's a great place to be. And, and if they're more into it's a bar, but they have a great humidor, the cigar boxes, that's what they basically are. I mean, if they want to go get wild, we can go to Cigar Box. They just want to relax and shoot the breeze with some wisecrackers, and then we'll go to the Tobacco Pouch.
How about you, Donnie boy?
So I think it's, when I think about this question, I think about like, I think I would recommend my home lounge where I go, because if I wouldn't recommend it, why do I go there? Type thing, But I think that's a double-edged sword, And I'm just going to take Burn One for example with you, Pete. If you had a guy come in town that you knew was just a laid back cigar smoker who just wanted to go have you wouldn't take him to Burn One. That's not the place especially on a Wednesday or Friday night, type thing. Woo. You might go to one of the other places around there that are a little more laid back. My place is very laid back. So I think if you wanted to be totally laid back or just have some good conversation, my place would be so for me it would be the lounge that I go to. Then you got to think about availability of cigars. Like I've shared before, the lounge that I go to doesn't have a great selection of cigars. So that's another issue, but that's for another question another time. But for me, that's it. Just kind of gauging. Like you said, if you're not going to take them to your home lounge, why do you go there? That's.
Pretty sure there's tobacco in every state. You're probably right, Pat. So, like for me, I'm kind of gonna piggyback on what JJ started saying. Like to me, like my lounge is one of the. Now, mind you, it depends on the time and the day of the week, because my lounge is very mellow on Thursday. Like Thursdays, it's chill. It's not that big because Wednesday, like you said, Wednesday to Friday, it's a madhouse. A lot of people out there talking smack, slamming dominoes, talking talking all sorts of nonsense. But to me, I have to find out who this person is. Like, what exactly is their vibe?
Right.
Because it's important. Like, and it's kind of what both of you are saying together, right? Because if I know that the guy is really chill, he's really laid back, he's not about all that drama, he's not about that loudness. There are other lounges, like right. I could take him around the corner, Stogies. Right?
Yeah, great.
Has a decent selection. It's not a very big lounge. It's kind of between because they have their groups that go there. To me, I think it depends on the individual. I think that and because here also, at least in the South, the Cigar International are very, yes, they are bats. To me, I think it varies, right? It does vary from lounge to lounge, person to person. And I think because of where I'm at in South Florida, I have so many choices that I think that I could find a perfect fit for whoever comes down.
Absolutely.
You got the bouginess cigar lounges, right? You got the laid back lounges, you got the in-between lounges, and then you have my lounge, Burn One, that they have their moment of just being chill, laid back, and then then you have the flip side of that.
I'm gonna throw a wrinkle in there for you. You don't want to take them to the lounge where you smoke cigars, but they got the cannabis room at the same time. It's like it's gonna throw the whole vibe off because the cannabis gonna always smell louder than what your average stick would be, and that'll kind of throw you off if you're a cigar smoker or something like that. I mean, there's nothing against it.
You guys have, I'm sorry, I'm in the control. You have lounges like that in Georgia?
I got one lounge not too far from where I live, man, that I've experienced. They got a cannabis room, and you go in there, it's like a private lounge, and it's really nice. And you just sit off in there and smoke. It's kind of corded off with his own little air space.
And stuff like
Yeah. With his own
we definitely don't have that here, because I don't think that will ever get passed in Florida.
Well, I think it's kind of like a low key type thing. So, if you know, you know.
Well, that's like saying, "Hey, you undercover?" Well, I'm not no more.
You go home and your wife's like, "You went to smoke cigars, but you're higher than a bird butt right now."
Right. Oh yeah.
Hey, man, that's the beauty of living in this city, man.
Yeah,
Absolutely. So now to kind of go back to what PC was saying, like what type of vibes do you guys look for when you go to a cigar lounge? PC.
Man, I like. Let's just say this: if I'm by myself, I could go to where they're playing dominoes and they're really, really loud. But my home lounge, they're in between, so they got a nice little crowd. So it's kind of laid back. You can sit over in the corner, but you can ear hustle at the same time and listen to them talk, plenty of crap to each other, man. So I really love my home lounge, to be honest with you. And they got a nice selection, nice size humidor. They got all the sticks that you would probably want. So that's my thing. But the club vibe, I can only do that, just a little bit,
Yeah, I'm kind of there with you. You know what I mean? Because there's certain, like, I've taken you guys to smoke on the water, right?
Yeah.
And that at nighttime on the weekends, it can kind of get clubby, And I'm like, I have to be in the mood for that, it's not. That's not. And mind you, there are people that are there every day, every weekend. They're like me. They're part of the furniture. To me, my vibe, I like any lounge that allows me to just be myself.
Yep.
I mean, because I've gone to lounges that the owners are very anal. You can't talk about certain things. You can't say certain things. You can't, you can't act a certain way. They turn on the television whatever channel they want, not for what the customers want.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, why in the hell am I here? If I got to do everything that you do, I mean, first of all, you ain't my dad. You know what I mean? It's like I come here to relax, not to be scolded.
Yeah.
And I've dealt with that. And a couple of guys that I used to hang with dealt with that just the same. And unfortunately, the majority of us left that specific location. You know what I mean? But to me, I another important aspect in the vibe is the people that are there, they're regulars, right? Because, if a regular if I go to a lounge I've never been to and a regular don't even say, hey, how you doing? Hey, welcome, whatever. Fine, But when you're there for an hour or two, whatever, and you're supporting that lounge and no one even tries to converse with you, what's up, Matt? You know what I mean? And no one even tries to support communicate with you or just say hi.
Been there.
And Don, you had a situation like that, and which kind of brought you to where you're at now.
Right.
So what kind of vibe do you look for?
I'm going to say it in one word: inclusivity. and that kind of takes to exactly where you were going. If you walk into my lounge and I'm there, I usually, if I'm sitting, my lounge has two sides. It has the member side, which is members only, whatever, and then it has the public side. If I'm sitting over on the public side, I always have my bottle sitting on the table, and it's a BYOB place. They don't have a bar, so I have my bottle sitting on the table, and I usually sit facing the door, and I'm the first guy like, hey man, how you doing? Welcome in, because I think when the owners or the person working there gets busy, they may not have time to greet everybody that walks through the door if they're in the humidor helping somebody. So I think it falls on the members to and I know you're a big believer in this, Panda, that it falls on the members to welcome people in and it's our home. It's we spend a lot of time there. It's our home, and so for me, a lot of people don't know that my lounge is BYOB, and they'll come in and they'll be like, hey, where can I get a drink? And they're like, oh, it's BYOB, and they go, ah. And I'm always the first guy like, hey man, I got a bottle here. If you want to grab a glass, man, feel free.
Yeah.
And I think that's it's a good icebreaker for meeting new people, which is why I'm there. It's the cigar lounge is my socialization. I work from home. I'm home a lot of time. So getting out there is my socialization. So I think it's important to, if I sat there with my head down and was not welcoming, that person's gonna look at me like, I ain't sitting with that dude. And that's what drew me to my lounge. That I went to another lounge and I went there 3 nights in a row, and not a person said a word to me. And I was like, and mind you, the place was full. And I always, I said, hey, how you guys doing? And move on. I'm like, and when I walked in the first time to my lounge, the owner, it was a kind of a dead night. It was a Monday night. I remember it. Monday Night Football was on. I went in, I bought a stick, I sat down in the chair, and he comes over, and it's a kind of a row of 2 rows of individual chairs, probably 4 chairs on each side and then 1 on the end, so probably 9 chairs altogether. And I was sitting there watching the game, and he comes over and says, hey, you want some company? You mind if I sit down? And we chopped it up for 2 hours because there was really nobody in there, and I thought, man, this is someplace I want to be.
That's nice.
And then you became a locker member.
Then I became a locker member, right? so honestly, that couple-hour conversation made that guy $400 because I bought a locker,
Mm-hmm.
Hey, PC, that question's for you, buddy.
Okay, you can go downtown McDonough to the Cigar Bank. It's right there on the corner. If you go in the square, it's on. Depends on where you come from. You can't miss it. It's the old bank in the square of downtown McDonough.
I think what he's asking is how close are you to that?
Oh, I'm about 45 minutes away from there.
Oh, heck yeah.
Nice. And how about you, JJ? I mean, now that you're a traveling man, you kind of been exposed to a few things now since we first started. What are you looking? What do you look for now? Because like I said, you've been exposed to South Florida, and now you got to other venues out there in Kansas, Missouri.
I think before I was contaminated, I would say about 60% of the time, a place like El Guapo's, where as soon as you walk in the door, you feel welcome. Alex and his humidor help, they're both great guys. They make you feel, what do you want to drink? Grab a seat. What do you want to watch? And you just sit there and you can bull crap with them all day long. But since South Florida are going to Florida and going to Louisiana and all these places, I'd say, a crazy night out every once in a while would be okay with limitations. Yeah.
JJ, I think for me, looking at you, like you've come out of, we've talked about this before, you've come out of your shell a 1,000-fold since we first met. So when we first met, I think you would be the kind of guy that when you walked into my lounge, if I looked at you and said, hey man, how you doing? Grab a drink if you want. That would be important to you. Yeah. Because you're more of a quiet guy, and you might not initiate that conversation to start with, where, might be a little different now because you're out there, slinging the stogies and you're doing your thing, so but I think that, for some people, when they walk in, they're looking for that initial, hey, how you doing? Have a seat, man. Join me,
Yeah.
Think about Think about anywhere new that you've ever gone to experience, right? It's kind of uncomfortable feeling at first, right?
Yeah, sure.
It doesn't matter where it's at, whether it's a new job, you're going to go visit somebody that you don't know, or you barely know. It's always that first introduction. What do they say? You only get one chance to make an impression.
First impression,
is everything. And I believe, to an extent, I believe that, because there's days that, you could catch people in the wrong time. And, You know, but in Don's situation, he went there 2-3 times, and you still had the same result, right?
Right.
That's bull crap.
Well, you think about this. I worked a split shift today, and in between, I didn't come all the way back home. I found me a lounge that I normally go to when I'm in that area. And when I pulled up in the parking lot, one of the members, he was pulling up. Man, he was like, "Hey," I'm like, "Oh crap." Oh, he's like, "Yeah, I remember you, man. It's like it's been a while, but I remember you." So I go in. They treated me like it was part of my lounge. And especially when I got ready to buy, he was like, "Hey, you got your phone number in the system so you can get a discount?" I was like, "I don't know. I can't remember." He was like, "What's your number?" I gave him my number. He was like, "Yeah, you in there, man." So, you get that. That's from the first time I ever been there. But the new tobacconist, he was very welcoming, today. And he was really cool.
Mm.
So
that, and I'm sure he recognized you because you realized how do you miss this big, tall, 6'9", 320? God, how does he forget someone like you, man?
Hey, man, don't overstate my height. I'm 6'2".
And it's crazy to me that some lounges don't want to welcome you in. To me, you want me to come back. It's imperative that I come back. So you should make sure as soon as I walk in that door and that bell rings, you should be there greeting me and making me feel comfortable. And, and because the whole goal was for you is to make sure I want to keep coming back. And maybe this will be my new home lounge because you made me feel so welcomed. And it's crazy to me that you have lounges out there where they're just nose in the air, stuck up. That's crazy.
Yeah. Anthony, I'm on the east side of Gwinnett County, man. I'm in Gwinnett County, but I can get to McDonough easily.
So,
for me, when you walk into a lounge for the first time, and like the lounge I spoke of where it was kind of like off-putting, that guy, when I walk in the first time, he doesn't know if I'm a one-stick guy or I'm a $5 a month guy. He has no idea.
Right.
I think I think a lot of people can be both or neither. If I might be a one stick guy that night, but if I like the place and I like I said, I buy the membership, I get the locker membership, I start patronizing that lounge, I'm buying my sticks there, that it grows.
And not only that, they don't know your community, right? They don't know who you know in the sense of other people that are looking for something in that area. Listen, right. I know is like that one particular lounge I was talking about, that guy, that owner, he prefers people to buy their cigars and leave.
That's crazy.
Then have a store. Then just have a store. Don't have a lounge.
Right. Exactly. I agree 100%. Right. And it baffles me that anyone that will open up a lounge, that they have that mindset, because it's customer service, right? To me, if you're in this type of business, you have to be a people person.
Right.
You have to be, right? Like, if you're an introvert, don't open up a cigar lounge.
or if you do, hire people that can run it for you that are not.
Correct. Well, you know what? There's one particular person that not only does he own his own lounges, he has his own blends, and he has a personality of a cactus. Just saying.
Right.
Just saying.
But that's like for I hadn't been to my lounge in quite some time since we left Florida for whatever reason. I haven't been there, and I walked off in there, man. It was like I never left. And this was a new tobacconist that was in there, and she was like very inviting. Hey guys, come on in. You need anything? You need some ice? You need this? She kept checking on us. Not that we wanted her to, not that we didn't want her to. That was just the thing. That was just the vibe in my lounge that they instill in their employees, man. And I think it comes natural, at the same time. So you want that. And dude, what happened was I realized that I was back home after so many weeks of missing. I just opened up my wallet. I was like, man, this is not right. I'm paying a mortgage over here.
Well, I know that feeling.
Uh-huh.
Well, I think too, for me, like I was in the same situation. You know, I built my man cave out here, so I spend a lot of time out here, and so I spend less time at the lounge. And I hadn't been to the lounge in a long time, you know, and since we came back from the Great Smoke, I've probably been there 1 or 2 times. And the owner actually called me, and but not just checking up on me, but just to ask, hey, did you know? He was trying to be funny, like, hey, did we get a divorce? What happened? You know, you were like the furniture, and you know, but what he was really asking is, did we do something wrong? You know, and that, you know, I said, no, man, look, I you know, I built my man cave. He knew I was doing it, you know, and it was just it was just nice to hear from somebody who noticed that I wasn't there. So I told him, I said, you know what, man, I went that night, you know, that Friday night, I went up there to see him because I was like, man, I really hadn't been there a while, and it is important to support your lounge, you know, and that kind of thing.
So Ellie, tell the little ones we said hello.
Absolutely.
Oh, you know, and she's sitting there, I'm sure, on the TV or on Ellie's phone too. She's at her mom's.
Okay.
And she's waving at each and every one of us, saying
awesome.
her name.
That's awesome. So, okay, so now the follow-up question to that, what does a lounge owner have to do to make you become a return or permanent resident per se at that lounge? You know, and I'll start with myself. Like, to me, it's everything that we just mentioned.
Yeah.
Right? Because now mind you, it's not just the owner. Right? It has to be the people that are in this lounge.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because you can have the owner, nicest freaking guy in the world, but his clientele are the biggest a-holes, you know, you will meet. But those are his a-holes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's used to certain personalities. He's used to certain things, but I'm not used to that. I mean, not me. I doubt I think I will play with the rest of the a-holes. But anyways, but you know what I'm saying? So to me, I think it's not just only the owner. I think, like I said, you guys have seen me. I've been behind the register. I've been in the humidor. I've been behind the bar. You know, whatever it takes for me to make that new customer, you know, feel welcome. So, and hopes that we can add on to the family. I'm all for it.
Well, yeah. I think for you, Panda, too, it does. You know, we've shared your lounge is louder than most on, and so, you know, your owners have cultivated that vibe. But I promise you, if somebody walked into their lounge that ruined that vibe, they have no qualms of saying, hey, you gotta roll.
Dude, I can hear. What?
And mine's the same way. Mine's very laid back, but you know, the owner of my lounge is a former Marine, and he has no problem walking up to somebody and saying, hey, you're ruining the vibe in here. You got to go. You know. Yeah. Or you're being an a-hole. You're disturbing other customers, and you know, he has no problem saying you. And I think he has a little bit of the you know, he made his money in another industry, so the cigar lounge is not his primary source of income. So he doesn't give nobody's ruining the vibe in his lounge, that type thing. It doesn't matter what kind of money you're spending, you know.
Right. You know, I can hear now, and I feel so bad that I don't remember his name. The older gentleman that owns your lounge,
Paulo.
Yeah, I can hear him right now saying, without trouble, "Hey, get the out of here," and not miss a beat. If you're messing with his vibe and his guys, he's going to tell you to get the F out pretty quick.
Listen, I cannot tell you how many people the owners have thrown out.
Yeah.
You know, and I could tell you, we're talking about, we had one guy at one time had 5 lockers. Wow.
Yep.
And he screwed up royally. And you know what they told him?
Bounce.
You got to the end of the week to grab all your stuff and leave. You know, and because of the vibe, you know what I mean? And to them, yeah, it's a livelihood, yes. You know, they make their money, but they know the importance of the vibe in the lounge.
Your family.
Because the vibe is definitely going to keep and sustain it.
Yeah, they just got to keep Panda there, because Panda gets like 7 boxes a month, so you know they got to keep him there.
You know, you got the outlockers. You get the fox in the hen house over there at Burn One. You're messing with the family.
Yeah,
I mean,
well, we've had to straighten out a couple of young bucks.
I guarantee you.
You know, I tell you that shit I saw a few months ago. Actually, it was sometime last year. Right. It was like a group of 4 or 5 of them, and they're playing. There's one guy that you could tell he's trying to be the alpha of the group, and he got stupid and dropped the beer and broke the glass. And 3 of us got off the domino table, and we had to have a little conversation with them. Like, listen, you guys are a guest in our home.
Absolutely.
Either y'all conduct yourselves accordingly or y'all can leave. I said, so this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna clean this up. I'm gonna get you a beer on me. I'm gonna rectify this. You know, either y'all could. There's the door,
Right.
and everybody. And when I mean everybody's just looking, you know, and it's like, dude, wrong lounge, buddy, wrong lounge.
And what's that old saying that you know, if you know, you always tell your daughter, if there's any trouble, find a cigar lounge, because somebody in that cigar lounge. That's a culture that's cultivated. You know, that's that carefully
Curated.
carefully curated. But no, seriously though, most lounges that you go to that have a good vibe, I would tell my daughter, if somebody's following you, if you have a flat, go into a cigar lounge. Somebody in there will help you. You know,
Hey,
because it's a bunch of good dudes.
Hey, that is not a myth. I witnessed that today. This young lady was having car trouble. She came in the lounge. Can somebody come out here and help me with my battery? Something's going on with my car. And you had guys on the domino table. They stopped what they were doing, went and saw about her. Next thing I know, her car was not in the parking lot anymore. So that is a true statement, man. It's like safe space for kids at certain gas stations. You know,
Right.
the cops, you know, they hang out there. So if you have if you're walking home from school and you got some bully, go to the gas station and tell the cop, he'll help you out. So, you know, I witnessed that. That was a beautiful thing to see a lounge like that. And that's the type of stuff I want to see. But, you know, at my home lounge, man, what is attractive to me about it, they teach young smokers the actual etiquette of cigars, man. And they have events, you know, just for that. And we have a lot of ladies that come to our lounge that are well versed in cigars. And that's what they do. They teach there. Not only that, you know, the vibe is everything. You know, we don't have to worry about Felix taking care of the vibe. The members take care of the vibe, you know, right along. You know, with
We
Felix.
still correct ourselves in our lounge. I mean, even among ourselves, you know, I mean, the owners seldomly get involved.
Mhm.
If we get involved, one or two things are going to happen. Someone's getting thrown out,
Mhm.
you know, or they shut whatever it is going on. They shut it down. They don't care what it is, whether it is our game or, you know, a ladies gathering or whatever it is. You are not allowed. I don't care if you've been here for a week or for 100 years. You will not destroy or disrupt the vibe in this lounge.
No.
Right.
Okay. And this is something that, you know, it's hard to emulate, right? It's hard to find in other locations.
Mhm.
And I've said this time and time again. If I ever open up a lounge, I would try my hardest to emulate my lounge.
And that would be very hard.
It would be very hard, you know, because I want everyone to feel welcome. And ladies, we have a handful of ladies that come to the lounge as well. You know,
Right.
sometimes they come by themselves in a group, and they'll have their own, you know, they have their own little you know, social gathering of female cigar smokers, which we all embrace. We give them their space. No one's ever disrespectful.
Mhm.
Right.
And we have one guy that kind of crossed the line, and I can tell you, we immediately rectified that quick.
Yeah,
It
dude.
was one of our own. You know what I mean? And he, you know, he was saying it in just, you know, in a joking fashion, but you could tell that it made them feel very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And we're like, no, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
You know, right? Do's and don'ts, right? The
Yeah.
do's and don'ts. So, which is a perfect follow to the next question. What do you guys feel about people bringing their own crap to the lounge? Their own cigars, their own drinks. What do you guys think of it?
Me personally, man, I take my own cigars, but I make sure I'm purchasing. The reason why the cigars that I do bring to the lounge, I'm smoking those that night. The ones that I'm purchasing, I'm taking them back home.
Mhm.
I'm going to always support the lounge. Even if it's not my lounge, I'm going to always buy 2 to 3 sticks. and depending on if the wife with me, that's 6 sticks. So but
I'm the opposite. I'm the opposite of that. I'll because there's certain lounges, right? Not every lounge carries everything that you like or have what you're aware of, right?
Right.
So I've been known to bring my cigars to lounges that I've never been to, but I've always go to the humidor first, and I'll buy 2 sticks,
Mhm.
and the first thing I do is I'll normally smoke a stick that I just purchased from them,
Right.
and I'll get me a drink. Obviously if it's a full bar, I'm definitely gonna get me a drink. And if the missus is with me, we get 2 drinks. But I always, I try to show that I'm there to support them regardless of what I have, but I always make it my personal, number one priority is to make sure that they see that I'm there to support them.
Right.
Because lounges, just like, certain bars, they have a cork fee, they have a cutting fee.
Right.
So you got to respect it, right? Sometimes it's like $10 for the night or whatever it is.
So my lounge is, they allow you to bring your cigars in, but however many cigars you smoke. So if you're going to smoke 2 cigars that night, they either expect you to buy 2 cigars, or they have a $10 per cigar cut and light fee. So, and my when you talk about drinks, my lounge is a BYOB, so that doesn't factor in on my lounge. We have to bring our own drinks in. So,
Yeah, but they have water. They have, they have drinks, right? They have water.
Yeah, but they're not. They have that there just for if you need something to mix with your drink or something. They're not in the business of selling that, so they don't. People walk in with their Yetis. They have no policy on that. They're fine with it. So, but if you go into a lounge that has a bar,
right.
I mean, first of all, in Texas, that's illegal to bring alcohol into a place that serves liquor. But I would never think I wouldn't think of bringing my own stuff into a place that sells it, which is kind of a weird thing, because when you say the same thing about cigars, it's a little bit different. But also, I'm going to buy those however many cigars I'm going to smoke, and I'm also going to, I never pay the cut and light fee, because to me that's kind of silly to pay that fee when I could pay the same amount of money and buy 2 cigars,
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well, we may not have a cut and light fee, but I make sure that when I purchase those sticks, there's a 20% tip on everything that I purchase. Even if I go back and purchase again, I tip again, just to show that, I'm not here to take from you. I'm here to add to the environment.
Panda's house.
I can second that. And you don't need to bring your own cigars to Panda's house. He's got everything you might want.
And you know what's crazy about at Burn One is you can even see where Panda sets. There's a perfect little size 6 footprint.
on the stool again.
Oh man, I got a booster seat in the morning.
And I think, my answer to that question is that you guys answered it perfectly. Support the lounge. If they allow you to bring, if they have policies, follow the policies.
Mhm.
Hey, but ultimately that brick and mortar, a lot of them, they're starving for money, especially at this point. They're starving. Support them.
The owner of my lounge says it perfectly. He said he told one guy one time, he said, "I'm not paying $3,000 a month rent to give you a place to come smoke your own stuff."
Exactly.
Like let's call a spade a spade. We're if I'm paying $3,000, it's to make money on this business. So yeah, I allow you to bring your own stuff in, but you got to buy something. You don't go into McDonald's and eat Arby's. I mean,
But it baffles me, right? Because we've seen it, even in my lounge, we've seen people that you could tell they've never been to the lounge,
Right.
and they'll bring. First of all, you're not allowed to bring outside liquor, to the lounge. You can't buy beer and stuff like that. Now, the locker members are allowed to have, certain drinks, but they have to stay technically in the members' lounge.
Right.
I mean, so, but I mean, we the owners have definitely thrown people out, and people got pissed off. Like, I don't understand how do you think it's okay for you to go to a lounge, smoke your own cigars, bring your own drink, and not support the lounge? So I'm supporting. I'm giving you a cushy seat for your ass and a place for you to smoke your cigars.
But some people are so entitled, man. You got to get out of that crap. Stop.
That is clueless. They're
Don't
clueless.
Don't nobody owe anybody. Well, just put it this way: life don't owe you nothing.
Well, and
No.
the opposite of that is charging a cover charge to get in, and nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to pay a cover charge to get into a cigar, you know. So support the lounge, or these places are going to have to start charging cover charges, you know.
Yeah. I mean, it's a place of business. I mean, you're going in there, you have to spend money.
Because we know how tough it is to have a lounge. We heard how tough it is for people to actually operate a lounge. Man, it's not an easy business, and so if you want a place that you can go and enjoy yourself, you're gonna want to. Man, if I could, I would be a solid investor in the lounge, man. But just to keep it around. So, hey, man,
It's tough. It's tough. And now we all seen the spike in prices.
Yeah.
We've seen it. People. I could say, there are some certain locations, certain lounges that they're trying to figure out ways to help out with that cost. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm trying to think. There was a group of guys. I forget who it was, but they were mentioning in regards to like keystone pricing, and they think that it's a lot more than the keystone pricing.
Right.
We definitely got to get with these guys. I'll share who I'm talking about, but and I guess unless you're behind the scenes, you don't know what that cigar is costing that cigar company to have made, because they vary.
Yeah.
It seems that the average cost is probably about $4.
Yeah.
Right.
But that's just for the cigar.
Right.
It doesn't include the band. It does not include the cellophane. It does not include the box. So that $4 is going to be a lot more. Well, it could be a $6, right? And then they go, it could be a $6 cigar or $5 cigar. Next thing you know, it's all over the place.
Or the enormous excise tax that place has to pay each month on all the cigars they have coming in.
Oh yeah,
It's crazy.
And I learned something today by watching a video from what's my guy name? Maduro, aficionado Maduro, what on TikTok. Anyway, in that whatever stick you're getting, that it could depend on the master roller rolling that particular stick, because other rollers don't roll that particular stick. The pricing, and that's before the Keystone hit it.
At the end of the day, I'm just going to say this, and people may disagree with me. We happen to know that how Keystone pricing works. At the end of the day, it's none of my business what that lounge owner paid for that cigar. When I walk in there, I say, this cigar is $16. Is it worth $16 to me, or isn't it? If it's not, then I move on to the next one. I don't need to know that he paid $8 for it, or he paid $10 for it, or whatever. Right. We happen to know how it works because we've talked to enough people in the industry that I think your everyday up and down the street cigar smoker doesn't know that it's doubled every time, every step of the way. But again, in order for me to go in and smoke a Plasencia, the new blue label, I can't remember the name of it, which is a phenomenal cigar. Cielo, yeah. If in order for me to go in and smoke that, it's going to be $24 at my lounge, and if I want to smoke it there, then great.
Oh shoot!
What's going on, John?
My own skillet, what's going on, boy?
What's up, Holmes?
Especially being on this side, obviously being a rep and seeing this side of the industry is, I call a lot of people and like what I said about the excise tax, like I would, but I can't this month.
But
I got
to. I'm sorry about that, Jay. Finish your thought.
You're good. And a lot of them be like, I got to clear up space, because they have to make sure that humidor slot makes them money. It has to be their passive income. They have to, because by the time it, from the factory to, our hand, this thing, it's went up 150%.
It's crazy because think about it, right? Especially on the back end of it, right? Now you kind of now, and you're somewhat in the business now that you're a rep, right? It's this is what makes it harder for the new companies that are coming out, for the lounge owners to take a gamble on something that's relatively new, that they know that they don't know, so they don't know, most likely that the consumers don't know,
and
right? So,
I get a lot of that. Have you heard of us? No, we've been around since 2019 in over 250, shops in over 40 different states. And like, I've never heard of you.
What's going on, Cigar Man?
And Panda, let me ask you this. So I have a good enough rapport with the owner of my lounge, and I'm pretty sure you do as well. If I walked in there and a cigar is, $24, but I know down the street they're selling it for 18, I don't have a problem telling him, hey man, down the street they're selling that cigar for $18. He might say, hey, there's nothing I can do about that. Sorry.
You know what my guys are gonna tell you? They walk their ass down the street.
I can see Apollo now.
But you know what? I think it does him a good justice to say, hey man, the guy down the street might be undercutting you, and that guy down the street might not be selling it the way he's supposed to be selling it. But there's times when he's like, oh, let me look into that, and there's times when he's like, hey man, there's no way I can sell it for that. And I'm like,
Right.
I'm loyal enough to my lounge to say, well, I'm going to buy it here because I pay enough money for my membership and all that kind of stuff that the extra couple of bucks is worth me having this lounge open. So.
Well, if you think about it, right, those who are locker members get discounts anyway, so it'll balance that out.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So if you think about it, you're getting that price, not at the face value, because you're obviously going to get your discount and it'll undercut that $22, $23, or whatever it is.
Yeah, I just thought about something good that my lounge does, and I've heard her do it with everybody. The young lady and the owner that work there, they'll always tell you, okay, that's $24.95, and with your discount, it's $20.50.
Right.
So they let you know that this is what it would have costed you, and with your membership, this is what it's going to cost you, and that makes me go, oh, should I save $4? Great,
Foster's down the road carries that they buy cigars from me. He sells them for $1.50 over cost. I can go to 66 and buy that same Blackfoot for $15. I can go to him buy it for $7.75.
Mm-hmm.
Because he said
he's seriously undercutting
cigars.
His primary
and that's what he told me. He said they're here out of pure necessity.
Cigars get the liquor buyers in the door.
Exactly. He said, I entice him with that. You say, hey, there's a humidor over there, and he's doing good. He's got her packed pretty good now, and I got cigars, and then they go in there and look, and they're like, I can buy me a handful of these. Spend $30-$40, buy a good bottle, and have a good night.
That's some good marketing strategy.
And he's good at it.
$1.50 over cost. Man, that would never happen here in South Florida.
Dude,
I mean, don't get me wrong, like Total Wine and ABC, like they have a humidor, and relatively they are a little inexpensive, and they're probably on average about $2. There's certain cigars, maybe $3 at the most at the high end. But there's definitely cigars that they are definitely, because mine is not their primary source of sales.
But the problem is you're going to go into most of those big box liquor stores, and you're going to find the same. You're going to find Rocky Patel. You're going to find Romeo and Juliet. You're going to find Perdomo. You're not going to find West Tampa. You're not going to find the boutiquers. Boutiquer, is that a word? The more boutique cigars,
The total one that my buddy's a manager, he's got Padrones in there. He had Placencias in there.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. They're going to have those in there, but they're not going to have Big Sky and that kind of stuff in there because they're buying. That's just my experience.
And I went through my spiel. The company. They don't want you to go less than 15% off. But you're not going to tell that shop owner how to sell his product. He's already paid you. He's done his part. And he'll have no problem telling you that I'm going to sell these cigars for what I want to sell them for. I've already paid you. And
hey, John, who has West Tampa's? Who is he referring to?
I think the big box like Total Wine and that kind of stuff.
I'm sure they do. I've just never seen them in the Total Wines that I've.
And West Tampa's probably a bad example. They're growing and they're becoming more mainstream. So I was just trying to say that they're going to have your cigars that everybody thinks about when you think about a cigar. Romeo and Juliet. They're going to have Perdomo. They're going to have Padron. They're going to have
Perdomo. Yeah.
The Lot 23s. They're everywhere. Everywhere you go, they got Lot 20. But they're great cigars.
And the 1856.
those were leaves made up of a elm tree. That's not cigar leaves.
That ass of a donkey's where it came from, man.
Panda's got him. Panda's got him in 1876 coming from last night. So
I don't think so, homie. Negative Ghost Rider.
Very negative.
We are
Very
the champion.
Do we speak down on a cigar? But that is one cigar we will publicly talk down on because it deserves it. That cigar is horrible.
That is beyond horrible, man. That 1876. I don't. Yeah,
You know,
that.
And you go to take a draw out of one. For one, it tastes like you lick tree bark. Two, it draws tighter than OJ's glove, and you're like, this.
It is so true, man.
what you
Go
got,
ahead,
John?
John. What's your question, buddy?
And just so you know, but while John's asking this question, Panda and I had a little wager on the NHL championship game, and once again,
the Panda is victorious. How much? What?
He's looking at PC's background. How much do we all weigh?
Hey man, that's a combined weight of 2,000 pounds.
That's a lot of girth. It's a lot of girth, bro. Oh, man.
See, I'm gonna say, I'm about 290, but 84 pounds of that's all head.
Ooh, that's not where I thought you were going.
Well, it's not where I wanted to go, but I decided to.
Wait a minute. I look a little thinner than I do on that picture, don't I?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think I look a little thinner now than I do in that picture.
I think that's why he's kind of saying that back then. So,
Hey,
John,
what he's saying is you guys have done a great job from where that picture is to where you are now. I think that's what he's trying to say.
no. This is what he's saying. First of all, he said this, and then he hit us with this.
Yeah. I tried, John. Sorry. I tried.
Oh man, that is hilarious. But listen, so yeah, that was last year July, right?
No, that was Great Smoke, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was great smoke.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great smoke, dude.
Look
Where
at
the hell were we at?
We were at
the
Smoke,
shop center.
we were at Smoke Inn, the one by you. The Smoke Inn by you.
Tanya Works.
Yep.
Are you serious?
That was one of the
the lizard was on top of the roof across the street.
Yeah.
That's where we went there one morning. We all may or may not have been hurting a little bit that next morning. So that was
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That's where we got the old fashions at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many of you are going to try the new West Tampa? Which one? The Dark Side or something like that thing is called?
Dark Times. I will definitely try it. It's a pricey cigar, but I will definitely try it.
Oh, they were $30, $40?
$30 a piece. Yeah.
He just came out with the Devil Crab, man. I haven't even tried that one yet.
Dude, he is on, between him and his daughter, they are on fire.
Yeah.
They're and he's talked about the price of it. It's outside his normal portfolio, but you know what? We all trust West Tampa enough to buy that cigar.
Well, you
They've proved themselves.
Oh, did you see the cutter?
The iron's hot, man.
Yeah.
You see the cutter that it comes with? It looks like a Rolex time watch.
Yep. Cool.
I mean, like I said, they've been validated in my book. That is for damn sure.
For sure.
Oh yeah. I mean, we got to get Rick back on.
Yeah.
You gotta have to work on that, JJ.
I can message him right now, and he'll message me back within 15 minutes. He is laser fast every time.
We need to get that. What I got to find out where I could get the Devil's Crab.
I'm working on somebody right now to get on. He makes the Romacraft tobacco. Skip Martin.
Look at this. He'll order me a crab. I send him a Timeless. Oh man. Yeah,
Which
you never
time?
know,
Which
man.
timeless?
I've been known to do crazy stuff. Make up your mind, Greg. Either pay attention to the DAC Discord or this chat. Oh, he's on both. Hey, Greg, I appreciate you supporting, bro.
Yeah, dude. Thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
Oh man, I had a couple other questions that were kind of off topic, so I'm gonna save those to the next one. Because there's a couple of things that we want to do. We were supposed to have another guest come on. We had to reschedule next week.
And I think I seen why. Today's his birthday.
Okay.
I seen on Facebook today was his birthday.
Happy birthday to him.
Jesse?
Was it?
Yeah.
Happy birthday to Jesse.
I only say that because he's the only person I've ever seen with his name spelt like that.
Pat, we got to get you on, buddy. We got to get you on. We got to figure out. I mean, you're not even here. Yeah, he's over here selling dreams. Oh snap! That's right. That's right. It's every Wednesday, right? I got to jump on that too. See what's going on. But what you call it, guys? Well, guys, there's another hour in the books.
So we may have one late hour before then, but if not, I'll be seeing you guys from very warm and sunny Las Vegas next weekend. So not this coming weekend, but the next weekend.
Sin City.
Yeah, I will be in Michigan from the 2nd to the 6th.
Nice.
Yeah, we're gonna go up there and see my wife.
4th of July out there?
Huh?
You'll be out there for 4th of July?
Yep. And they're having the Cherry Festival, I believe they call it.
Okay.
Hey, Greg, you're out there in Michigan, aren't you?
I think he and Flint. I think Greg and Flint.
I think we're gonna be in Traverse City, Michigan. This is where my sister-in-law lives.
Nice.
Well,
18-hour drive.
ooh, you driving?
You're not getting my wife on a plane.
He's north of Flint.
Oh, you north of Flint. All right.
Well, JJ's gonna be out there in Michigan. Where are you gonna be in Michigan at, JJ?
Traverse City, or Travers.
How far are you from there, Greg?
It'd be sweet if you said like 20 minutes. I'm like, we're going to around then.
2 hours. That's a good ride. That's not a bad ride.
Yeah, that's not bad. I want to go up there and see how you guys really talk up there because it's so weird.
Hey man, but shit.
I don't understand these people with these accents over here.
I don't either.
I don't get it. Well, guys, another one for the books. Like I said, I want to give a shout out. Yeah, with coffee, sneakies, and water. They gotta love it. So, guys, listen. Want to give also another shout out to our sponsors, Guapos, the Burn One Cigar Lounge, and of course the Godfather, guys. We're still working. We got to get with Chris in regards to that discount code. I know he's still trying to iron certain things out.
We need to get him back on here too. He was a good time.
Well, guys, another episode down. We appreciate it. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace.